So I'm going to go in order. I'll start with my freshman, and then after, before I go with each individual, I kind of want to talk about the season, and everyone can chime in. I have no, just unmute yourself. So I think, I came into this brand new. I didn't really know any of you. I didn't know what I was getting myself into, but with that being said, I was excited. It was a lot different from any other coaching job that I've had. Your schooling, you guys as personality-wise, you guys opened, heartily welcomed me, and that was kind of a breath of fresh air for me. I knew from day one that I had something good in front of me that I wanted to build upon. And as the season progressed, I don't know what the word is exactly, but I think that we did that. I think there was games, unfortunately, that, one that came to mind was we were away and we were down to a team that we already knew that we could beat, and that was Novi. And I don't think it was something that will kind of be in my memory at all times, and that is I handed the marker over to you guys. I walked out, and I said, you guys do it. And what happened?
We played a lot better the second half.
You guys came out a whole new team, a team that I was looking for all year. And it just shows that a lot of you have that leadership, and that's what I want you to grow into. We need leaders in this game. You look at, the Michael Jordan documentary that's going on right now. You look at a face like Kobe Bryant. They're all leaders. They all, not just good basketball players, but they led their team. And that's a strong attribute that you can bring to a team that, not everyone is capable of doing. And I think that we had a few of those this year, and, I'll go through them at the end. But, at the same time, everyone needs to try our best to be a little bit more vocal, go a little out of your comfort zone. But, to me, this season is, overall, I would say there was ups, there was down, but going into it with kind of the eggs that we had in front of us, everything with the injuries that Varsity had, people having to move up, I think that I would call it a successful season. We finished 500. And, along the way, we dealt with, again, illnesses, myself included. And we dealt with, some of our guys getting pulled up to varsity at times. To almost half our team at one point got pulled up to varsity. And we still fought through that, and we played a great game over at Cranbrook. And that's another game that I won't forget. So, kind of with that being said, I guess I'll go into, unless any of you want to say something to the team right now, or I can leave it, Dad, do you want to say anything to them now, or do you want me to keep going?
You can keep going. I just hope all the players and their family and friends are all stay healthy, basically, at this time.
Perfect. So I asked, one thing I asked everyone to do was, I got the idea from Coach Hopkins that was to vote for MVP. And, To me, I took what I got and I kind of put it into what I thought as well. So I'm going to start with my freshman and then go up. So, I'll start with, Chris. Chris, there's a lot that I can say about Chris. Chris has all the potential, and he and I had personal talks. He's got all the potential in the world to be a great basketball player. I don't even see him on here. Oh, there he is. Okay. It moved. That's why. So I'm still getting used to this online stuff. But Chris he brought a lot to our team. He not only was a point guard, but when I first met Chris, Chris was more on the shyer side. But there was something about him that I told myself I got to get him out of his comfort zone. And I don't know exactly how to do that yet, but I got to get him out of his shell. And over time, Chris started to come out of his shell. And he really sprouted into, what I call of a true point guard. And that's what I asked him to do. I look at, kind of our last game where, it was hard on him because he knew that we were trying to get him to score so he could put everybody on the scorebook, but he still took his unselfishness, a great quality about him, and he was still distributing the ball. I had a wide open layup and he gave it to, somebody right ahead of him. I think it was Jake or something at the time. And that's just, when I think of Chris, he's a very unselfish player. He knows what I want him to work on. We've talked about that. And he was just a very hard worker, during the season. With that being said, Chris, I gave him the award of, I called it Mr. Assist. So he was our assist leader throughout the season. And at the same time, I don't know exact statistics, but going throughout the year, looking at what I could from the book, he gets to share the award of the best free throws percentage throughout the year. And, but so, Chris, what you have to work on, keep it up. You got a bright future ahead of you. You're only your first year in. And, man, just keep up the hard work. Take into what I told you and, work on the skills. Get in shape. So when it comes to first game of the season, we can be that, the team that has, runs them out of the gym. So with that, I will go on to Jordan. And Jordan, again, when I first came in as a coach, he introduced himself to me, was very friendly, kind, and I knew that Jordan could be one of my leaders. Still a little bit on the shy side, but, I saw potential in him. And he showed that, as each one of you progressed during the season, but Jordan sprouted particular for me from, someone that almost was afraid to shoot the ball. And I'm not, scared to say that because I've told him that before. He built the confidence to later down the road become our leader. And when certain players got moved up or certain players weren't there, he knew that he had to take the team under his wing. And, different times in the locker room, Jordan was able to lead. He was great with prayer. Always wanted to lead us during, saying the prayer, and just again, another guy, on top of you all that just really has a bright future. Jordan really progressed during the season. His shot, I will say, really improved. And, with that, I gave Jordan a share, and I will explain why it's a share later on, but I will give Jordan a share of the Leadership Award. Jordan also, I gave him a share of the Best Offensive Player. And Jordan was also one of the 3 that was able to have best free throw percentage. And then after asking you all to, vote and to take into what I already had notes, Jordan was able to also get the share of the MVP of the team. And I didn't just look at points or who had the most less turnovers, the most assists. An MVP of a team is somebody that steps up, somebody that you don't have. So, Jordan, did you hear you got the MVP, right? A share of the MVP?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, I kind of said that the MVP, a share of it is, I look for somebody that's not only a great basketball player, but is also a great teammate. Somebody that I could count on as a coach to go to if, say, someone wasn't there, somebody that, could lead the team. And Jordan did that. So that is where I went for as a share of the MVP. With that being said, Jordan, you got a bright future ahead of you too, at only being a freshman. Keep working hard, man. Work on the shots. Take what you did. I would say look at where you were at the beginning of the season and to where you are now. And it's a difference of night and day. You came out of your shell. You came to be that leader that I was asking you to be. You were one person that actually took what I said from a shot standpoint and did exactly what I wanted. And I think you can be the first to point that your shot at the end of the season, I think, was a million times better than what you started with. And I think it showed, because if you looked at the statistics in the book, I think there was one point at one of the last games where I think you had like 24 or 25. I don't have the book in front of me, but it was like 24 or 25 points, and you were the leading scorer. And that just shows that, that's the progression that we need. So keep up the hard work, keep up the leadership. You're a great teammate, and again, you got an awesome future ahead of you.
Thank you, Coach.
Yep. So next, I will go to the last freshman, and that will be Easton. So Easton was with us for half the season. And during that half season, he brought a lot to this team. He brought the leadership that I wanted. He brought the kind of aggressiveness that I wanted from a lot of you. And not only that, he always responded to me as, yes, coach. What can I do better, coach? What do I need to work on, coach? And Easton was someone that, when I got there, he stood out. And he was, he's a good player, and I think that showed, and I think we all know that. He still has a lot that he needs to work on. We've had conversations too that that will get him to be that next level player. He's got a few, I guess, flaws in him that he knows about that he needs to work on. But I have full faith that he'll be able to fix those and get better. Now, one thing I will say that really got to me and that I saw and that kind of fixed over the season went on is Easton was one of those guys that was very, very hard on himself. If he did something wrong, he got frustrated. And that came during our first game of the season. And that was the scrimmage. And I think Easton missed like 5 or 6 shots in a row. And he got so frustrated where he literally took himself out of the game and said, "Coach, I can't do it anymore." And I'm pretty sure during the middle of the game, he went off the court and sat his butt down on the bench. And I didn't know what to do. I was kind of just shocked. I'm like, what just happened? I got 4 guys on the court right now, and Easton's on the bench. He was so frustrated with himself, and he's like, and I remember something that came to me, and he's like, "Coach, I stink." And that's what he said to me. "I stink, coach." And I think a lot of us felt that at some point during the season. And I think there were times where a lot of us during certain games, things like that, where we almost just wanted to give up. And there was certain times during the season where we struggled. But the great thing about it and the great thing about what Easton did is he got through it. And he was able to overcome those frustrations, and it showed. So, during the season, halfway through, Easton was, one of 2 guys that was lucky enough.
For a minute. But so award-wise for Easton, so what I was getting to is Easton and Jordan were able to share. And the reason why I gave Easton and them the share of the MVP is I think that before everything happened, I think that, again, Easton was a player that was able to lead our team. He was somebody that I could go to kind of get the team going. Very aggressive on the court, which was great. And, I think that showed. And then, when he left us to go up to Varsity, that is when I think that, and a lot of people agreed as well too, is Jordan was kind of our second half MVP as well. So I think that they kind of shared it, and that's what being a team is all about. Is sometimes there's different people that need to step up during different times, and that's why they give that. At the same time, offensive player of the year, he shared that with Jordan, and leadership award, him and Jordan shares that. And then 3, I call it the Chauncey Billups Award, and that was 3-pointers. So he was able to take that home. So Easton, you have again a great future ahead of you. That shows. I've talked to you, put in the work, man. And I think Coach and I will, we'll be looking forward to, what's to come here in the future. Let's go. I'll just see the first person on my phone, and that is Jack, Mr. Jack. So what can I say about you? Man, when I got there, I knew I had my hands full. There's no beating around that bush. You are the, but it's not a bad thing. So don't think it was a bad thing. But you kind of, in the first couple of weeks that I was there, you were the instead of the class clown, you were more of like the team clown. That person that at the end of the year, everybody votes to be, the class clown, and you definitely you would have won that award. So, but that's not a bad thing, because here's the thing: is during the season, everybody kind of needs to pick me up, and I will admit that there were days where I was struggling myself, just with everything that I had on my plate, and I would come to practice, and no matter how I was or mad I was, somehow found a way just to make me laugh, and in a way that uh, that I needed. It was like, it's what I needed. And I think, at the same time, Jack brought a lot to the team. He, uh, at the beginning of the season, was not getting uh, really a lot of playing time. And not once did it put his head down and say, okay, I just can't do this anymore. I just want to quit. It was more of, coach, what can I do better to be able to earn playing time? And, that's what I really like to see. And at the same time, uh, I saw that, because as the season progressed, each practice, Jack pushed himself, and he pushed himself even harder. And even when we had your good old buddy, everyone's good old buddy, Mr. Joe, come in, that was a time that you showed up, because you worked your butt off, and you could have quit, you could have walked out and just said, hey, I can't do this anymore, coach. But I saw that grind in you, that grit in you, and I saw that one. Again, over time you got better, and I think that you saw that. And as the season went on, there's a lot that I put on you, and you would go into a game and you would do exactly what I want. And then come practice, the one thing that kind of stood out to me is you pushed yourself, and you pushed yourself harder every practice. But the one thing that I really want to get to is, you got to keep that up. It doesn't stop. It doesn't stop here. It is the off season right now, but one thing is never downplay yourself to the competition that is in front of you. Never worry about, and that goes to everyone, not just Jack, is don't get psyched out. Worry about who you are as a player, what you need to go going forward. Know who you are as a player, and know that no matter what's in front of you, that you got to go each day and give that out. So as I go off video again, uh, I had an award for the best attitude. And with that being said, the attitude is, that's kind of never give up mentality, the I want to work harder. No matter what's put on my plate, I'm going to do my darnest to go forward with it and beat that. And at the same time, I gave you the grinder award too, as you grinded out many.
So good.
What is? Can you hear me? Oh, that was probably somebody else's audio. Okay. So, just keep it up, Jack. You again, it's the off season now. It's the time, hit the weight room again, get in shape. It goes for every one of you. I'm going to tell it to every single person after I'm done. So, I appreciate it. You brightened my season. You made it a very fun season for me. There was a lot of laughs, and I think the team can go forward to save that you brought them a lot of laughs at the same time. So, I appreciate it, and definitely keep up the hard work. So, who is next on my list? Let's see, Mr. Humphrey, Luke. My first, I came in and I looked at you and I was like, oh, this is going to be fun. I got, at least I got one tall kid on my team that I'm going to be able to, someone that's going to be able to crash the boards, but, no hard feelings, but, at the same time, you were that person that was able to come to me and I think within like 2 to 3 weeks of the season, you said, hey, coach, what do I need to do? What are the little things? Can you, give me a chart, a list of, what I can do to get myself better? But again, you had that contribute to you too. That was, you beat yourself down and you got really frustrated with yourself. And I think you knew that, there was times in games where you got so frustrated that I think, I could tell in your eyes that, hey, I just don't want to do this anymore. And, you missed 4 or 5 shots and you just said, I don't know what to do, coach. What can I do? What can I do to get better? But, the great thing about you is that I told you, you were able to take that, and anytime that I walked into a gym, you were there. Anytime that you had that free time, you were there to work on what I asked you to work on. And that's what I like to see. So, with that, you were the Ben Wallace Award, the Mr. Rebounder. You were very aggressive on the boards. You were able to compete always, even if you had the biggest guy on you. But not only rebounds, you got the Block City Award, which is, the most blocks throughout the season. So, Luke, you got a bright future ahead of you too, man. I think this is one thing that I would say to you and not the rest of the team at this point is eat. So while you're eating, putting on some more pounds, build that and put it into muscle because, at the height, and, I've told you this many times is, we're going to put you in the weight room and, we got to get you stronger and you know that. So, we'll work on that and, we'll get there. Guess I'll talk to the ceiling fan, and that is Jake. Jake is not there anymore.
Jake, let's see your face.
I don't know where he went.
I'm here.
There we go. All right. So Jake is probably one of the nicest kids that I have ever met, even when I stepped in there. And like I said, when I first walked into that gym, I was very excited. And the reason being is I was welcomed with open arms. And Jake was one of the first to do that. Not only that, there was Jake was just always smiling. And again, just one of those players that, if I asked him to do something, he did it. And he, he was, again, one of the players that was very hard on himself, but at the same time, he was only hard on himself because he wanted to make himself better. And he wasn't sure how to go about that. But, he wasn't afraid to, get on the floor, dive for a ball. And, what was one thing that actually at the banquet that I was going to have ready for you, because there is something that I owe you. And what is that?
Gatorade.
Yes, sir. So Jake took the most charges throughout the season because that is just the player Jake was. He wasn't afraid to put his body on the line. He wasn't, afraid to body up somebody and get hit. And that's awesome. And he knew what I wanted out of him. He knew, that there was certain places on the court that I wanted him to shoot. And, there was times that I would get on him because I wanted him to shoot more. But, it's that confidence that needs to be built. And, kind of as the season went on, that confidence was there, and then it kind of went away, and then it came back a little bit. But no matter what, Jake always had a smile on his face, and he always came to work. He always was, no matter how tired he was, I literally had to, at times, drag him off the court. He was one of the players that I had to watch because he pushed himself so hard that he was never tell me, "Hey, coach, I'm tired. Hey, coach, I need to come out." He would. I think there was times where Jake would rather collapse on the court than come out of the game or come out of practice. And that's just that great work ethic. So, with that being said, I gave you a big award, and that is, something that really stands out to me, and something you should wear proudly. And that's the Lancer Award. Something you truly deserve. Something that you should be proud of, and something that you should build upon at the same time. On top of that, you got my my defensive player of the year. With that, you got the most charges throughout the season. You got a lot of my boards, and you were always Mr. Aggressive on the court. So I appreciate everything that you did during the season. You have again, a great future ahead of you. Work on the stuff that you and I talked about separate. And again, you should be happy of the accomplishments that you made throughout the season. Let's see here, who is next to you, Mr. Benor. Mr. Benor, what's going on? You there's a lot of so many good things that I could say about you. You're something special, and it's something that I think that I don't think there was anything that you were ever afraid of doing. There was nothing that was out of your comfort zone. The confidence, the kind of like they say, the head that's on between your shoulders, you're just confident, with whatever you did. And if you missed a shot, if you did something wrong, you did it again until you did it right, or until you did it better, until the ball went in. And that's something that I can't teach. That's something that just, there's a want. And you wanted it. You wanted to become a better player. You wanted to get, go and get the ball. You, defensive wise, you shut down in that one game, in that second half. The kid, I don't think I've ever seen in all the years that I've played or coached, I don't think I've ever seen a player as frustrated as that kid was in that first time that we, played Novi Christian. And you completely shut him down in the second half, and you were a huge reason why we won that game. Josh, you have a heck of a future ahead of you, and I could go on and on about you. But we've talked a lot, during the season, off the court, on the court, and you've got something special. And I think, and it's not for me to put you down, but for the things that you don't do, you built up for it on defense, because you might not have the best outside shot or the best inside presence. And something that you and I talked about working on this off season was what? And that was changing your shot, because I truly think that I think that you might be using the wrong hand to shoot. And it was something that I kind of was looking forward to this off season, to see if it was going to work or not. So with that, Josh, I gave you a share of the defensive player of the year, because that is just your work ethic throughout the season was phenomenal. And then I also gave you my junkyard dog, and someone that you guys probably aren't familiar with. That is Jerome Williams. So go look him up. But he's the junkyard dog. And that's kind of what you wanted, or something that you reminded me of, is you did all the hard grinding things. But that's something that every coach dreams of, is having a player like you. Is, you're willing to go that extra mile, willing to do anything that you're told. And I don't think once I ever heard a complaint out of you. So, I appreciate that. Thank you. And again, I look forward to what the future has in store for you. Definitely I was looking for this off season, and, once everything clears up, I definitely, want to work with you. So, keep up the hard work, and, you'll be going places too. Let's see who is next. That would be Grant. Grant, you what is the word that I want to use and use it appropriately? You were a player that I came in with that I knew would work and would always, I don't think there was anybody that was staying after practice or was there before practice that was trying to work on their game and different things that we went over as much as you. You could see that grind in you and that want, the wantfulness of, you wanted to get better. And, you were, again, similar to Jack, is somebody, that came up to me and, coach, what do I have to do to get more playing time? What do I need to do to get in a game? And someone that, again, hard on himself, but hard on a way to want to get better. And something, someone who throughout the season, you definitely improved. And you always listened to, what I had to say. And, that showed. And that showed later on down the road as well, when, you kind of change your shot up and it went in. So with that going in, I gave you the steals award. You had the most steals throughout the season. So again, Grant, just keep working, put yourself, what you're doing, hit the gym, the weights, get in shape, keep working hard. And, you got a future ahead of you. I'm just trying to see, because this keeps moving around. Ty. So Ty, just again, a great kid. I mean, like all of you, again, probably one of the nicest, outgoing kids that I've met on the team. Again, one of those players that always had a smile on his face. Someone that always was willing to try whatever he had to do to be able to play more, or able to get himself better. And, there was times where I think that Ty, that, he could have worked on and could have done something better. But not only that, after talking to him, the next time he came on the court, he did that. And that's something that, you look for in every player that you want to coach. So Ty, you get those ankles better. Maybe we'll have you have an ankle brace that you keep in your locker so we don't forget it. But with that being said, Tyler, I give you a share of the best attitude, because there was never anything that puts you down. And again, just one of those players that you always had a smile on your face. Let's see. Next to you would be,
Can I jump in here for a minute?
So Joe, I mean, your improvements from the beginning of the season to the end of the seasons were night and day. Your confidence built as the season went on, and your leadership, your ability to give it 100%. I asked every single person, during the before and after the game to, leave it all on the court. Don't go, at the end of the day, after the game is over, don't put yourself and say, oh, I could have given more. And I think you probably are one of the first person to be able to say that. I think every game that you played, you gave it your all. You never left anything on the court. Or you never took anything with you off the court, I guess I should say. It was all left on the court, everything that you could give. You have one of the best, again, I'm not going to give it to you, but your attitude was phenomenal. Again, talking about smiles on the face. Anytime that I came in, you had a smile on your face. Work ethic in practice was above the rest, and I have no problem saying that, because every sprint that we did, every hard running drill that we did, you were one of the top people of finishing. And I would say that's even when we were practicing with Varsity. I mean, you were, running wise and being, there, you were, right there with them. So, there's, again, a ton that I could say, but, not only getting, the Steel Award, a share of the Steel Award, I gave you, Mr. Hustle. And I don't even know if Mr. Hustle is a big enough word or an award for you, because again, your ability to leave everything on the court is something I would love to put in every single player that would ever play for me. There was times where, a game went on and I'm like, I think I saw there was a couple of games where you went up for a layup and you missed. And a lot of players, I mean, even you see in the NBA, they put their head down and they don't even get their butt back on defense. But not you. You would run that player down and give it your all to get that ball back. And that was, just something that there was times that, as a coach, I'm like, I don't know how he caught up to him. There's no way. But, somehow you were able to get a hand on the ball, or, able to, even get a foul so they didn't get an easy layup. Never gave up. So, on top of that, the Mr. Hustle, I'm a big wrestling fan, and, I'm going to say it is, the John Cena Award. And John Cena has one slogan, that's never give up. So, Mr. Cena, something you should hold proud, because, I'm not going to go in about him, but he is someone that, never gave up. So, again, keep up the hard work, keep grinding. I really hope to see you next year. I know you're a baseball player, and I'm sure you're bummed about, not being able to play baseball this year. But again, keep that work ethic up. Keep doing whatever you can at home. And again, you got a bright future ahead of you. Let's see, Chris, I did. Luke, I did. Joe, I did. Ty, I did. Grant, Easton, Jake, Jaden. Okay, I just had to go in order. Jaden, you are just an awesome person too. You were, when I came in there, came up to me and said, hi coach, I'm Jaden. And again, one of the first people to introduce yourself to me. And that goes a long way, nice firm handshake, someone who, again, you left it all on the court. Somebody that also got frustrated with themselves, but somebody that wouldn't give up, and somebody that, really wanted, and I saw it in your eyes, that wanted to get better. Somebody that was always off on the side when they could, trying to get themselves better. Someone that, again, you were always top in the running drills. And something that really stood out to me, and that was, one of the last practices where you were almost a robot, and, you couldn't, or maybe it was the game, I think. You came in with this neck injury, and I think it was the last game of the season. You're like, yeah, I can only hold my neck or my head over to the left-hand side. And I'm like, okay, so how are you going to play basketball? And you're like, I'm still going to do it. I still want to play, and your parents agreed. And so I put you on the court, and somehow you were still able to, run up and down the court. You got steals, you got some blocks, and you made some shots, which was even more because you couldn't move your neck. You and I talked multiple times of, something we got to work on, and that's, your shooting, your feet placement. But, something that you need to keep going is, the leadership, as well as, that work ethic. And, and that's something you just can't teach. That's something that's just done. So, I gave you, an award that I really like, and that's, I called it the Mr. Hops. And that was because you were always joking around, and something that, your teammates too, is let Jaden take the jump ball. Let Jaden, go against it. He's got the, the most jumps in the gym. And I truly feel it. I think that maybe besides we'll take Luke out of the equation for now because of heights, but I think you're going to be the first person to throw it down. And I think you might throw it down before a lot of these some of these varsity players too that are on the team. And that's something that is good, something that you should be proud of. So Jaden, don't quit. Keep the work ethic up there. I know you're a baseball player too, so I'm sorry that you didn't get to play baseball this season, but that doesn't mean that you can quit. And that I think you, again, just like I said, have a great future ahead of you. I think that should do it for player wise. So I'll make it short and sweet on my end to say my final words before I kind of open it up for anybody else that wants to talk. And I can say through all the years that I've coached so far with all the teams that I've had, I have not enjoyed a season like I had with you guys more than any season. This was by far the best team that I was able to coach. And that doesn't mean skill set or anything like that. This was just an overall the best team that I've ever coached. It's a season that I will always look back and always speak upon. And, a team that we had so many bumps in the road, but whenever we had a bump in the road, we found a way to get over that bump. And I'm not saying that, that I'm happy with being 500, because me, the person, I don't like to lose a single game. But, at the same time, I couldn't be happier about the outcome of the season. I like, with everything that went on, and, the offense and the defense and the injuries, everything. I just, there wasn't a season that I coached that I enjoyed more than coaching you guys. And, I am so looking forward to being able to leave my house again and being able to go in a gym. All right, guys, everyone stay healthy, stay safe, and it was nice seeing you all.